Myself, Dr. M. Laxmidevi, Associate Professor in the Department of CSCDS at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this video lecture, we'll see some programs based upon nested loops, that is patterns. So what are the different patterns? We'll write programs for those patterns. So these are the different patterns we can have. So first one is simple star pattern. The next one is instead of star, we need to print the numbers or digits. So this is also a pattern, another pattern where we are printing the numbers in this way. And this is another pattern where we are printing the stars in the form of a pyramid. And here, this is another form of a pattern, another pattern where we need to print the numbers. So these are the different patterns for which we are going to write the programs. So here, for any pattern program, so we need to use nested loops. So what are nested loops? Nested loop is a concept in C programming language. So where we have different two types of, where we can have any combination of number of loops. So for example, it can have one loop inside another loop. So one loop inside another loop is called as nested loop. So we can have for loop inside another for loop, and then we can have for loop inside a while loop, and then and so on. So we have seen the different types of loops like for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So these are the different types of loops in C programming language. So in our program, we are going to use for loops. So two for loops we are going to use for printing the patterns. So based upon the pattern, what we are going to print. So we can have n number of loops. So all the loops we are going to use are for loops only. So in this, so first we'll see the pattern. So here where we are going to print the stars. So as you can see here, so when we have only, so here this is the pattern we need to print. So when this is first row, so when row is equal to number of rows is equal to 1, so we need to print only one star when number of rows is equal to 2. So we need to print 2 stars when the number of rows is equal to 3. So this is the pattern we need to print. So in this way, as the number of rows goes on increasing, the stars will also go on increasing. So if it is 5, so rows is equal to 5, then this is what we need to print. Or simple way, you can see it in this way. So it is a rectangle. So when I is equal to 1, so we need 2 for loops here. In order to print this pattern, we need 2 for loops, one to iterate over the rows and another one to iterate over the columns. So suppose we use the looping variable I and j. So I is used to iterate over the rows and j is used to iterate over the columns. And in addition to that, since we are printing the stars, we need one printf statement. So where we need to print the star. So this is a star, you can say this is a special symbol or asterisk. So therefore we have put it in this quotes, double quotes. So when I is equal to 1, so here j is equal to 1. So we need to print one star. When I is equal to 2, j is equal to 1 and j is equal to 2. So therefore this loop has to be, the printing of star has to be repeated 2 times. So when I is equal to 3, j is equal to 1, 2 and 3. So here printf statement, we need to use the printf statement 3 times. When I is equal to 4, so j is equal to 1 to 4. So in all the 4 columns, we need to print the 4 stars. Now let us trace this program. So for this, we need 2 looping variables. So these are the 2 looping variables I and j. And n is the number of rows. So this program can run for any number of rows. Suppose for example, n is entered as 5. So n is an integer variable. So it can take integer values. Suppose the value entered by the user is 5. So that value is read by means of scanf function. Now for loop, this is the outer for loop. So this one is the outer for loop and this one is the inner for loop. So only when the condition here is true. So for loop, this is the initialization expression. I is equal to 1. So I is the variable which is iterating over the rows, and this inner for loop will iterate from the value 1 to j less than or equal to I. So till this condition becomes false, so till this condition is true, this printf statement will be executed. Now let us see. So for first I is equal to 1, then it will check the condition 1 is less than or equal to 5. The condition is true. So therefore, after checking this condition, it will enter this for loop, inner loop. Next here, for this case, j is initialized to 1. So it will check the condition 1 is less than or equal to 1. So 1 is equal to 1, it is true. So therefore, this statement will be printed. 1 star will be printed. Next, after that, when j is equal to 2, 2 is less than 1. So this becomes false. So therefore, this printf statement will be executed. The cursor will move to the next line. So this is a \n escape sequence. So therefore, the cursor will move to the next line. Now again, it will move. It will check this condition. Value will be incremented by 1. Now when I is equal to 2, so it will check the condition. 2 is less than 5. So condition is true. So therefore, it will enter this inner loop. Now j is each time the inner loop value j is initialized to 1. So j is equal to 1. So 1 star will be this. This printf statement will be executed 2 times here since I is equal to 2 here. So 1 less than 2, so that is true. 2 less than 2, that is also true. So inner loop will repeat 2 times. So j is equal to 1 to 2. So 2 stars will be printed for these 2 cases. Next, when this printf statement is executed, cursor will move to the next line and then I value is incremented by 1. So this condition is checked again. 3 less than 5. The condition is true. So therefore, it will enter this inner for loop. So I is equal to 3. Now when j is equal to, j will vary from 1 to 3. So j is equal to 1, 1 star will be printed. J is equal to 2. The condition is true for all the 3 cases. So 1 less than 3 or 2 less than 3 and 3 is also equal to 3. So therefore 3 stars will be printed here correspondingly. So therefore we'll get the pattern in this way. Similarly, this loop will execute till the I value is equal to 5. So when I is equal to 5, so j will vary from 1 to 5 because j is equal to 1. Each time the inner loop is executed, so it will run for the number of times. So this inner loop will iterate the number of times equal to the value of so equal to the value of I. So when I is equal to 5, so this will run 5 times and 5 stars will be printed. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in this way, we can print the given pattern. So next pattern. So now let us see another pattern. So this is how we can write the program. So this is the same pattern as we have seen previously, but instead of printing the stars, now we need to print the digits here. So as you can see here, so here also we are making use of 2 for loops. So one for loop to iterate over the rows and another for loop to iterate over the columns. So here I is equal to 1. So we need to print the value 1. Next, when I is equal to 2, so we need to print the value of 1 and 2. So here j is equal to 2. Next, when I is equal to 3, so we need to print 1, 2, 3. So as you can see here, so this is for this also we can use the same statements, but the print value, whatever we are printing, so instead of star, we are printing the value of j here. So when j is equal to 1, only one value is printed. When j is equal to 2, 1 and 2 are printed. So inside this for loop, we need to change this statement. So by changing this statement and by making use of the same program which we have seen earlier, we can print the given pattern. So here 1, 2, 3 and 4. So here j is equal to 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this program can be run for any number of rows. So suppose this is n is nothing but the value which is entered by the user, which corresponds to the number of rows. Suppose here also we are giving the value of 5. So when n is equal to 5, so that value is read into the variable capital N. So here this is the outer for loop and this one is the inner for loop. So for each value of outer for loop, so this inner loop will execute for as many times as I value. So if I is equal to 1, this loop will iterate for one time. For I is equal to 2, so this loop will iterate 2 times. So, and this j value will vary from 1 and 2. So corresponding j value is printed. Now let us trace the program. So for I is equal to 1, so 1 is less than 5. So therefore it will enter this inner for loop. J is equal to 1, 1 is equal to 1. So therefore it will print the value of j. So j is 1. So 1 value is printed. Next next after that cursor will move to the next line. If you don't write the statement, then immediately after this one only, the next statements also will be executed. So therefore we need to write this printf \n, so that the cursor will move to the next line and it will start printing from the next row. So for next I value is incremented by 1. After that it will check the condition. The condition is true for I is equal to 2. So j will vary from 1 to 2. So for each value of j, so first iteration 1 will be printed. Inner loop will be executed 2 times. 1 and 2 will be printed here. So corresponding value of j is printed. So when I is equal to 3, the inner loop will execute 3 times, because here the condition is j less than or equal to I. So it will run 3 times. So j is equal to 1, 2, 3. So corresponding value of 1, 2 and 3 will be printed. So in this way, this loop will execute 5 times. So if we are giving the value of n as 5, so this inner loop will execute 5 times and it will print the corresponding value of j 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in this way, if you run this program and give the value of 5, so you will get this pattern. In the first row we have 1, in the second row we have 1 and 2, in the third row we have 1, 2, 3 and so on. So if we give the value of n as 3, so if n is equal to 3, so the pattern obtained is 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So in this way, you will get the output. Next one, so this is another pattern where we need to print the numbers, but the numbers printed are in a different way. You can see here. Now let us see the logic for this program. So here also we are making use of 2 for loops. So one loop to iterate over the rows and another loop to iterate over the columns. So here we need to use 3 integer variables. So one which holds the value of number of rows, and another variable to iterate over the rows, and another variable to iterate over the columns. So we need to read the value of n by making use of the scanf function. So this is the outer for loop and this one is the inner for loop. So I is varying from 1 to n. So number of rows which is given by the user. So I will change from 1 to n. Next, I has to iterate for 1 to n value. Next, for j is equal to 1. So initial value of, so this is how we need to print the pattern. So if there are 5 rows, if the n value is equal to 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I is equal to 1, j is equal to 1. So here j is equal to 2, 3, 4 and then 5. So in the first row we need to print 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. In the second row we need to print the value 1, 2, 3 and 4. In the third row we need to print 1, 2, 3. And here we need to print 1, 2. At the last we need to print the value of 1. Now let us see how we can. So here as compared to the previous program, so we need to change the condition here, and that will suffice, and we will get the corresponding output here. Now let us see what changes we have made here. So for I is equal to 1, so I less than or equal to 5. Suppose n value is equal to 5 here. So 1 less than or equal to 5, the condition is true. So this condition is true. So therefore it will enter the inner for loop. So j is equal to 1. Now see here, we have changed the condition here. So what is the condition here is j less than or equal to n minus I plus 1. So what is n? N. In the first iteration, value of I is equal to 1. So plus 1. This will be 4 plus 1, 5. So this loop will repeat 5 times. So j is equal to 1 to 5. So this loop will repeat 1 to 5 times and it will print the corresponding value of j in each iteration. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this value will be printed in the, so these are the values which will be printed when you execute this for loop. So after executing, so when the value of j is equal to 5, it will come out of this for loop, inner for loop, and this printf statement will be executed. Cursor will move to the next line. Next, after that, I value will be incremented by 1. Now I is equal to 2 now. So when I is equal to 2, it will check this condition again. If it is true, so 2 less than 5, that is true. So it will enter this inner for loop. Now inner for loop will execute for j is equal to 1 to j less than or equal to, what is n minus 5? N is equal to 5 now. So n minus, now I value is equal to 2, because for the second iteration I is equal to 2 here. So 5 minus 2 plus 1. 5 minus 2 is 3 plus 1, which is, this is equal to 4. So here it will repeat 4 times. So the inner loop will iterate 4 times, and it will print 1, 2, 3 and 4. So in this way, so this loop will go on repeating. So outer loop, so for each outer loop, so this inner loop will repeat for number of times. So this will repeat 3 times. When I is equal to 4, j is equal to 1, 2 less than or equal to 2. Because when n is equal to, when I is equal to 4 here, so we know that j is equal to, j value is given by 5 minus 4 plus 1, which is equal to 1 plus 1. So it will repeat for 2 times. So 1 and 2 value will be printed here. So when I is equal to 5, so j is equal to 1 will be printed. So 5 minus 5 plus 1, which is 1. So in this way, we will get this output. So if we give any other value of n, suppose n value entered as 3, now you will get the output as, so only you will get only 3 rows. So when n value entered as 3, so you will get only 3 rows. So you can check the output by typing this program. So next one is, so program to print the given pattern. So this is another pattern. So it is little bit different here. So as you can see here, so we need statements to print star. So star we need to print, and for printing the spaces also, in order to introduce, these are nothing but spaces. So in order to print the spaces also, we need to use another printf statement. So this will print the spaces. This will introduce the space. So you can see here, so this pattern is similar to this one. So when number of rows is equal to 5, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So here 1 star is printed. So when I is equal to 1, when I is equal to 2, so 1, 2, 3 stars has to be printed. When I is equal to 3, so pattern has to be printed from j is equal to 3 to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. When I is equal to 4, so this is how the pattern need to be printed. When I is equal to 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So this is how this is how you can interpret this diagram or this pattern. Now as you can see here, so for each, we need to take 2 variables here also. So one for loop will iterate over the rows, and another for loop to iterate over the columns. So here you can see here, so we need one more for loop to print the spaces and another for loop to print the stars. So outer loop will iterate over the rows and inner for loop to iterate over the spaces, as well as another for loop to iterate over the stars. Now let us see the program for this. So here we need to use, so these are the variables which are used here. So rows that correspond to number of rows entered by the user. So I is the variable to iterate over the rows, and j is the variable to iterate over the columns. The column specified by the columns to print the spaces, and k is the variable to iterate over the columns specified by this star, where we need to print the star. So next we need to read the value of the rows. So here rows is equal to, so this value is given by the user. So that is read by means of scanf function. So this is the outer for loop. So this one is the outer for loop, and this is inner for loop. So this one is also inner for loop, and we have two inner for loops here. Inner for loop. So this one is inner for loop. So three loops we have used here. So when I is equal to 1, so it will check this condition. Suppose number of rows which we have entered, which the user has entered is 5. So 1 less than or equal to 5, the condition is true. So this is the for loop to print the spaces, as you can see here. So this loop will iterate for j is equal to 1 to, so here j we have initialized, j value is initialized to I. So j is, when I is equal to 1, j is also equal to 1, and this will repeat for the number of times till this condition becomes false. So j less than rows. So when j less than 5, that means it will repeat for 4 times. So j is equal to 1 to j is equal to 4. So it will print the spaces. So 4 spaces will be, so 4 places will be left blank. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 4 places will be left blank. Then after that it will come out of this loop. It will execute this for loop. So same for this. If now k is equal to 1, it will check the condition k less than or equal to. So this loop will iterate the number of times this condition becomes false. So k is equal to now, so 2 minus I. So it is 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. So k is equal to 1. This condition is true. So it will print. So it will print the star one time. So as you can see here, after this printf statement, we have not used \n, this printf statement. So therefore this star will be printed in the same line. So this is the output. So this you can see here, these are the spaces. 4 spaces will be left. So after 4 spaces, 1 star will be printed. So with the help of this for loop, k is less than or equal to 1. So this is true. So therefore 1 star is printed. Now next, when this condition becomes false, it will come out of this loop and it will execute this printf statement. So therefore the cursor will move to the next line. So in the next line you can see again the outer for loop will be executed now. I value is incremented by 1. Now I is equal to 2 now. So for I is equal to 2, it will enter this for loop. So j is equal to 2 now. So what is j here? So j value is initialized to I value. So j is equal to 2 to, so j less than, number of rows are fixed or constant, which is given by the user. So this loop will repeat for j is equal to 2, j is equal to 3 and j is equal to 4. So therefore 3 spaces will be left blank. So 3 spaces will be left blank, and then after that it will come to this loop. So it will enter this loop and it will print the star pattern. So k is equal to 1 and k is less than or equal to. So this star will be printed the number of times. So this condition is true. So this condition is true for, so 2 into 2. I is equal to 2 now. 2 2s are 4 minus 1. So which is equal to 3. So this will repeat 3 times. K is equal to 1, k is equal to 2 and k is equal to 3. So therefore 3 stars will be printed after this. So after 3 spaces, 3 stars will be printed. So this is what we get in the second row. So after that, this printf statement will be executed and cursor will move to the next line, and again the statements will be I value is incremented by 1. Now I is equal to 3 now. So when I is equal to 3, you can see here inner for loop, j value is initialized to 3. So j less than 4. Now it will repeat. So j less than 4. So when j is equal to 3, j less than or less than 5. So it will repeat 2 times. So j is equal to 3 and j is equal to 4. For these two values of j, 2 spaces will be printed. 2 places will be left blank. After that, when k is equal to 1, so this star will be printed for number of times this condition is true. So k less than or equal to, when I is equal to 3, so it is 2 into 3 minus 1, that is 6 minus 1, 5. So this will repeat 5 times. So 1 to 5 stars will be printed. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in this way, you will get this pattern. When I is equal to 3, so 2 places are left blank and then 5 stars will be printed. So after that, when I is equal to 4, so this loop will repeat one time. So one space will be printed, and uh, this loop will, the star pattern will be printed 7 times. You can see here, 2 into 4, 8 minus 1, 7. So 7 times the star will be printed. Next, when I is equal to 5, so this condition becomes false. So no space is printed here, and this loop will repeat 9 times because 2 into 5, 10, 10 minus 1 is 9. So thus in this way you will get this pattern. So when you enter the number of rows as 5, so you will get this pattern. So this is another pattern. So this is another program to print the given pattern. So here this is how, this is the given pattern which you need to print. So 1. So in the first row you need to print the value of 1. In the second row 2 and 1. So here 3, 2, 1. After that 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, 4 and 5. So j is equal to 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now let us see the program for this. So here we have declared 3 integer variables I, j and n. So here n is nothing but the variable which specifies the number of rows. So n value is, suppose n value entered is equal to 5. So this loop, outer loop, so this is the outer for loop and this one is the inner for loop. So this loop will repeat 5 times and I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, because here n value is equal to, if n value is equal to 5. So I is equal to 4, I is equal to 5. What about the inner loop here? Now let us see how this inner loop is executed. So when j is equal to I, that means whatever the value of I is initialized to, same value j also will take. So j is equal to 1 here. So j is greater than or equal to 1. This condition is true. So therefore j value will be printed. So 1 will be printed. Next, in the second case, j value, so here update expression is decrement operator we have used. So when we are decrementing the value of j, it will be 0. So 0 greater than 1, the condition becomes false. Next, cursor will move to the next line. I value is incremented by 1. Now I is equal to 2. After that, when j is equal to 2 now. So j is greater than or equal to 1. 2 is greater than, when the condition is true. So j value is printed. So that means the condition is true here. So 2 value is printed. After that, j value is decremented by 1. Now j is equal to 1 now. So j is equal to 1. When j is equal to 1, 1 is equal to 1, the condition is true. So j value is printed. So 2 and 1 are printed. So after that, when in the third iteration, when I value is equal to 3, the condition is true. So j value will take the values from 3. So j is equal to 3 and it will run for 3 times. So j is greater than or equal to 1. The condition is true. So here 3, 2, 1 will be printed. Then after that, in the fourth iteration, then when I value is equal to 4, so j is equal to 4 and this inner loop will repeat 4 times. So j value will be from j is equal to 4 to 1. So 4, 3, 2 and 1 will be printed here. 4, 3, 2 and 1 when I is equal to 4. When I is equal to 5, so j value will vary from 5 to 1. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 will be printed. So in this way, you will get the corresponding output. So when you enter the value of 5, so this is how you will get the pattern. Next program. Now let us see another program to print the given pattern. Now as you can see here, so this is the given pattern here. So in the first row, we need to print. So based upon the number of rows specified by the user. So if the number of rows specified by the user are 6, so the pattern which is to be printed is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After that, the numbers will be printed in descending order. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then one space, after one space, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then two spaces are, one space is left. Then after that, two spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 3, 2, 1. So then after that, three spaces, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So in this way, you need to print the pattern if n is equal to 6 here. So after that, you need to print 1, 2, 1 and at the last one. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces, and then, so in this way you can see here. So this is how we need to print the pattern. So for this we need to declare three integer variables I, j and small n, where small n specifies the number of rows here. Suppose n value entered by the user is 6. So n value is equal to 6 here. And space is also a variable. The name of the variable is space and its initial value is 0. We have initialized the value 0. Now next, this is the outer for loop and this one is the inner for loop. So this for loop is used to introduce the spaces and this for loop is used to print the numbers in ascending order, and this inner for loop is used to print the numbers in descending order. Now let us see, and this printf statement you can see here. So it moves the cursor to the next line. So here inside the for loop we have only one statement. So therefore we have not used any curly braces here. So now let us see the program, how it runs. So for I is equal to 1. So for I is equal to n here. Suppose n value is given as 6. So for I is equal to 6, I greater than or equal to 1. So this will repeat 6 times. So this for loop will repeat 6 times here. So these statements will be executed 6 times. Now let us see what is the output of this. So for j is equal to 1, j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to space. So j is 0. Initially j is 0. So the 1 is less than or equal to 0. So it will be, so j is 1 here. 1 is less than 0. 1 is less than or equal to 0. The condition is false. So therefore this printf statement is not executed. After that it will move to this for loop. So inside this for loop, so this condition is false here. So therefore it will move to the next for loop. So for j is equal to 1. So here also we have taken the variable j only. So this for loop will execute for j is equal to 1 till j less than or equal to I. Now I is equal to 6 here. So j is equal to 1 to j less than or equal to 6. So this loop will repeat 6 times and it will print the value of j. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this is what we get. After that this for loop is executed. So here in this for loop we have j is equal to I minus 1. So I minus 1 is 5. 6 minus 1, that is 5. So this loop will repeat j is equal to 5 to, so here we have used decrement value. In each iteration the value of j will be decremented and this will vary from, value of j will vary from j is equal to 5 to j is equal to 1. So therefore 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 will be printed. So therefore in the first row the output you will get is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and here you will get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is the first row value. Next cursor will move to the next line. Now I value is initialized to, I value is decremented by 1 and then I value is equal to 5 now. So when I is equal to 5, again these statements will be executed. So j is equal to 1. Now space value you can see here. In the next iteration space value is incremented by 1. Space plus plus means it is equal to, space is equal to space plus 1. So post increment operator we have used here. So space value is equal to space plus 1. So now space is equal to 1 now. So for j is equal to 1, 1 is less than or equal to 1. The condition is true here. So therefore it will print one space. So one space will be introduced. Then after that it will execute. It will enter this for loop. So j is equal to 1 here. j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to I is equal to 5. So this will repeat 5 times and it will print the value 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Next it will enter this for loop. So j is equal to, when I is equal to 5, this is 5 minus 1, 4. So j will vary from 4 to 1. So j is equal to 4 to 1 and it will print the values 4, 3, 2 and 1. So in this way, you will get the output of the next line. So one space is introduced and here you will get the output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After that 4, 3, 2 and 1. Next again the space value in the next iteration, space value is incremented by 1 and then cursor is moved to the next line. Now here I value is equal to 4. So when I is equal to 4 here, so j will vary from 1 to, so space is equal to 3 now. So j will vary from j less than or equal to 3. Initially it was 1, now it is, so here now it is equal to 2 now. So 1 is less than or equal to 2. In the third iteration, j is equal to 2. So 2 spaces will be printed. So 1 and 2. After that, j is equal to 1 to till j is equal to 4. So 4, so 1, 2, 3 and 4 you will get the output as. And then after that this for loop, the output of this for loop is the printf statement. This statement will be executed 3 times because j is equal to 4 now. 4 minus 1 is 3. So 3 to j is equal to 1. So 3 to 1 will be printed. So in this way, you can see the output of this program. You can trace the program and get the output. So in each iteration, space value is incremented by 1. So here space value is incremented by 1 in the second iteration. And here space value is incremented by 2. And here it is 1, 2 and 3. So after that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this way you can see here in each iteration the space value is incremented by 1. So at the last it is incremented by 5. So here this is how you can print the, if you execute this program and enter the value of 6 here, so you will get the pattern in this way. So this program you can run, you can give any value of n and check the output. Now let us see another program. So same here, same pattern, but instead of printing the numbers, we are just printing the stars here. So here we need printf statement. 2 printf statements are required. One printf statement to print the stars and another one to print the spaces. So this is how you can interpret this. So for n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So all the 9 stars are printed. So when I is equal to 1, when I is equal to 2, so 7 stars are printed. When I is equal to 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 stars are printed. When I is equal to 4, 1, 2, 3 stars are printed. So when I is equal to 5, only 1 star is printed. Now let us see the output of, let us see how we can write the program for this. So we have initialized, we have declared 2 variables i and j, integer variables, and 1 variable rows which holds the number of rows entered by the user. So row value is taken by means of scanf function. Suppose the number of rows entered by the user is 5. Now let us see the program. So in the outer for loop, I value is initialized to 1 and then it will check this condition if I is less than or equal to 5. Suppose rows is equal to 5, so this will vary 5 times. And this inner loop, inside we have 2 for loops. So this for loop to print the spaces and to introduce the spaces in the pattern, and this for loop to print the stars in the pattern. Now let us see the program. So for the first iteration I is equal to 1. So this condition is true, 1 less than 5. It will enter this inner for loop. So j is equal to 1 to j less than I. So 1 less than 1, this condition is false. So therefore this statement will not be executed. So it will enter this for loop. So j is equal to 1 to, so here j is equal to 1 to, this condition will be checked here. So condition here is number of rows entered by the user is 5. So 5 into 2 is 10. So 10 minus, what is I value? I is equal to 1 in the first iteration. So 2 into 1 is 2. 2 minus 1, 1. So 1. So 1 here. So this is equal to 9. So j will vary from j is equal to 1 to 9. So this loop will iterate 9 times and it will print 9 stars. So inside this for loop we have used this printf statement to print the stars, number of stars based upon this condition. So j is equal to 1 to 9. So 9 stars will be printed. So that's why you will get the output of, you will get this output. Next, after that, when you execute this statement, cursor will move to the next line. Next I value is incremented by 1. I is equal to 2 now. So when I is equal to 2, it will go to this for loop. Now j is equal to 1, j less than I. So j is less than I. So this condition is false. So 1 space will be introduced here. Next it will enter this for loop. Now j is equal to 1. So this will repeat for the number of times rows into 2 minus 2 into I minus 1. So when I is equal to 2, so it will be 5 into 2 is 10, 10 minus 2 into 2 is 4, 4 minus 1, 3. So this is equal to 7. So till j is equal to 7, 7 times the star will be printed. So after one space, so 7 stars will be printed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So next cursor will move to the next line. So in this way you can see here, so in each iteration when I is equal to 3, so when I is equal to 3, 2 spaces are printed. So this statement is executed 2 times and 2 spaces are printed, and this for loop is executed 5 times. So 5 stars will be printed because when I is equal to 3, so j will vary from 1 to, so rows into 2 is 10. So 10 minus 2 into 3 is 6. 6 minus 1, 5. So this is equal to 5. So therefore 5 times, so this star pattern will be printed. When I is equal to 4, so this statement will be executed 1, 2, 3 times, and this statement will be executed 3 times. When I is equal to 5, so this statement will be executed 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and this star pattern will be printed only 1 time. So thus in this way you can see the output when we run this program and give the value of rows as 5. So this is the output, this is the pattern you can get. Now next program. So here here you can see this is another pattern where we need to print. So here also here we need to use printf statements. One printf statement to print the star and another printf statement to print the spaces. So this is how you can interpret this pattern. So this is j is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And this is also equal to, I also varies from I is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. 4, 3, 2 and 1. So initially, so this is how the pattern looks. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And here we have, again now you can see here, so in the first the spaces are decreasing and the number of stars to be printed are going on increasing. So after that the number of spaces they go on increasing and stars to be printed they go on decreasing. So this is how the pattern is. Now let us see the program for this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in the sixth we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After that we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Next here you have 1, 2, 3. At the last you have 1. So if the value entered by the user is 5, suppose 5 rows. So 5 rows means, so number of rows is equal to 5. So here correspondingly you will get 9 rows. So that is, let us see the program for this one. So this is how we can write the program for this. So here we have used 3 variables. So first is, so here we have used 3 variables, I, j and rows. So and then again 2 other integer variables, stars and spaces. So in order to print the spaces we have the variable spaces, and in order to print, and this is another variable. Now let us see. So in the printf statement we have used enter the number of rows to print. So if this is a value which is specified by the user at runtime, the value of rows is given at runtime by means of scanf function. Now initially stars is equal to 1 and spaces is rows minus 1. Suppose the value entered by the rows is 5. So number of rows which are specified by the user is equal to 5. Now let us see how we can trace this program for this corresponding value. So this program can be run for any number of rows or any number of rows value given by the user. So stars is equal to 1 and spaces is rows minus 1. So initially star is equal to 1 and number of spaces are equal to rows minus 1, that is 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. Now this is the outer for loop. So this is the outer for loop and this one is the inner for loop. So this loop and this is also inner for loop, and inside this we have used if else condition. So this is used to check the condition, so that we'll see. So for I is equal to 1. So for the first iteration when I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to. So this loop will repeat for the number of times specified by the user, that is in terms of rows. So this loop will repeat for 9 times because rows are is equal to 5. 5 into 2 is 10. So I less than 10. So that means it will repeat from I to 9. I is equal to 1 to I is equal to 9. Now next let us see the inner for loop. So here we have used 2 printf statements, one to print the spaces and another to print the stars. So for j is equal to 1, so when it is entering this for loop, j is equal to 1 to j less than or equal to spaces. So spaces, initial value of spaces is equal to 4. So this loop will repeat 4 times, and inside this we are printing the spaces. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 spaces will be introduced. After that this condition becomes false and it will enter this for loop. Now it will check this condition. Now again j is initialized to 1 to j less than stars. So stars is equal to 1. So j 1 into 2 is 2, j less than 2. So this will repeat 1 time and 1 star will be printed. So after that cursor will move to the next line and then it will check this condition. So if I is less than rows. So this is how we can increment and decrement the spaces and stars. So I is less than, 1 is less than 5. So it is true. So therefore these statements will be executed. Now spaces will be decremented and stars will be incremented. Now in the second iteration, stars is incremented. So stars is equal to 1 and spaces will be equal to, initially it was 4, now it is 3. It is decremented. Now with that value, this again it will go to this for loop. I value is incremented. Now I is equal to 2. Now j is equal to, inner for loop will execute for number of times. This condition is true. So j less than or equal to, the spaces are given by 3. So j less than, so 1, 2, 3. So 3 spaces will be printed and this stars will be printed for j is equal to 1, 2. So here I is equal to, stars is equal to 2 now. So 2 into 2 is 4. So that means 3. So j less than 4. So this will be printed 3 times, 1, 2 and 3. So in this way, so after that again it will check this condition. So 2 is less than 2, when I is equal to 2, 2 less than 5, that is true. So therefore this statement, these two statements will be executed. Now stars value is equal to, stars is incremented by 1, it is equal to 3, and spaces is equal to, space value is equal to, now it will be decremented by 1. So spaces is equal to 2. So now I value is incremented by 1, I is equal to 3. So j is equal to 1 to j less than or equal to spaces. Spaces are 2. So j less than or equal to 2. So two spaces will be printed, 1 and 2. Then it will execute these statements. So j is equal to 1 to j less than, stars are 3, j less than 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 times. So 5 stars will be printed. So after that again it will check this condition. This condition is true. Now 3 is less than 5, it is true. So spaces will be, stars will be incremented and spaces will be decremented. Now spaces is equal to 1 now. Now I is equal to 4. So in this way, this loop will go on repeating 5 times. So when I is equal to 5 now, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I is equal to 5, 5 less than 5, the condition becomes false. Now, when this condition becomes false, the else block statements will be executed. Now, after that, spaces will be incremented by 1 and stars will be decremented by 1. So, spaces will be incremented and stars will be decremented. So, you can see, so when I is equal to 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. When I is equal to 6, you can trace the program for this. So when I is equal to 6 here, so similarly you can get the output for this one. So when I is equal to 4 here, so there is only one space, and 7 stars are to be printed. When I is equal to 5, so there is no space introduced. Space is equal to 0 and 9 stars are to be printed. When I is equal to 6, one space is introduced and 7 stars are printed. So whatever the pattern we have printed here, so that is printed in reverse order in this way. So this is how, if we run this program and if you enter the number of rows as 5, so this is the output pattern you will get. So in this way, so thus we have seen the different programs to print the given patterns, and in the next video lecture we'll see some more concepts of C programming. Until then, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.